Welcome back to the Switching Gear podcast and to our bonus episode. In this special episode, we will hear from our brands one final time as they share with us what value they got from the circular innovation process and dish out some invaluable and candid advice on what to do and what not to do when designing and launching your own circular business model. So, why did we design a circular innovation process? Well, for almost a decade, we had been helping brands to assess and adopt circular strategies. And our experience taught us that while brands understand the why of the circular economy, the how is still largely unknown. We saw firsthand that equipping brands with knowledge alone is not enough. Change, real change, comes when knowledge is acted upon. It's a process that needs to be carefully designed and managed. And it was with this in mind that we designed the circular innovation process, with a belief that by combining circular expertise with design thinking and team leadership, we could truly help brands to turn their circular intent into action and make circularity a reality.
Each Switching Gear brand got a different value from the innovation process. For ETP, the core value was in getting a fresh perspective and input, which challenged them to be more ambitious with their thinking.
All of your backgrounds are different than from our specific textile B2B market background. That gave us the opportunity, I also believe, to think differently. And that would have been very different if we would have done this journey only on our own and within our own team. I found that a very good aspect about this.
Yeah, sometimes you need some external people with a fresh, open mind, and that don't know our business. From the inside, and it gives you some ideas that you wouldn't come up with yourself.
As a smaller brand who constantly have 100 things on the go, the innovation process really helped Kuyichi to keep focus and momentum, but also pushed them to take a research and evidence-based approach to development.
I think if we had not done the Switching Gear project, it probably would have taken longer. We're really pushing us to make decisions and continue to build upon the things that we already did. So really like a catalyzer for the project, I think. So it's really good to have like this cheerleader helping you to move forward. So maybe you can find also a cheerleader in your own team that can do that. And I think what is also really good to think about is that thinking about these kind of business models, these circular business models, actually also starts thoughts about how is your current business model working, and you by connecting with your customer in this process, thinking more about the customer maybe than you were already doing, you also start wondering other processes that you have embedded in your business model if they also should get an update. So not only will you end up with a new business model for circularity, you can also end up improving your current one. And I think that was really valuable for us as a company, mostly because we're normally not so research focused. So more do focused and act focused. So if you want to like take a moment and think about what you're doing, and then these kind of processes will actually help you improve what you already have.
Meanwhile, for Asket, the process got them out of their comfort zone and challenged them to be more creative and explorative in defining a model that really worked for their brand, their product, and their customer.
I think it really helped to do this step by step, to take time to start with analysis, the business case, and then head into more the conceptual and then marketing strategies and so forth. So I think, that is one part, to really have the structure. And I think the exercises we've done have been really good. And majority of them have been totally new for me, and I would never really know how to do that without your help. but then of course also get input from or your expertise input, and to really bounce ideas and taking it step by step together has been really nice, with new perspectives. And
Yeah, I think this, since when we started out, this was very much a blank page. We knew we wanted to do something with resale. That's pretty much where we started. And even from the first session, it became obvious how many different versions there are and ways to do this. And maybe we thought more, we're going to get a ready-made template for how you do this, and then we're going to do that, and that will be it. But I think, as Estelle said before, if we would have done this ourselves, we would have probably been more just in the very early, setting what. Probably looking at a few things that's out there, taking what we think is the best, putting it together, and launch that without exploring around as much as we've been able to do through this program, and then questioning different areas of the concept, making sure that it fits with our customers and our goals, instead of just what someone else might be doing for another reason.
For Lindex, the value it brought was multifold. The structure of the innovation process, the expertise and network they could access, and the team alignment and collaboration that it all sparked.
And I think it was really good to have this whole format of thinking of it as a new business. I mean, we had a step-by-step approach. I think this really pushed us to organize ourselves around this task, because we had done some pilots before, and but usually it was not cross-functional and not as anchored as this one. So I think this is probably different from what we have had done before.
And I also think it's good to have these stages, and instead of discussing the how to do it, we actually just trust you, and we did it the way that we were supposed to do, almost at least, and and actually to trust that and to go with it, and that was a success factor, I think.
We've learned so much from the whole methodology that we can apply to any new business model that we want to pilot. Like if we want to start up with rental, if we want to start up with repair, yes. So we have now the tools to do it. We know how to do it. We've done it once before, so we can do it again. And I think I like that we came back to many of the different questions that we had to face over and over and over again during the course of the process. Like, why are you doing this? What's your goal? So it was a constant development within many strategic questions that we really had to think out for ourselves, and everyone had to align on. And also I like that you have also a lot of experience in working with many different brands, and the whole network that you have seen a lot of different journeys. So you could also be just a consultant saying, okay, you have this and this. Okay, I think you should hook up with this partner and do this, and you start there. But that was not the whole idea. The whole idea was that we should figure this out for ourselves, because then you develop like a deeper learning of what you're doing. And I think this has been a very big value for us.
It is really rewarding to see our original hypothesis confirmed by 4 brands. But Hélène and I also started this work with a simple and bold intention: to scale circular business models in the apparel industry. And so we always knew that we could not stop with 4 brands. In order to scale, we needed to support as many brands as possible through the circular innovation journey.
This is why we developed the Circular Toolbox. The toolbox will guide you step by step through the same innovation process the brands in this podcast have gone through, including all the workshop materials you'll need and a wealth of tips and tricks to support you on your journey. No matter what size you are, what market you operate in, or what level of pre-existing knowledge you have on circular business models, the toolbox can help you on your way.
So, had our 4 brands any parting words of advice to those brave souls listening who are wondering if they too could design and launch a circular business model?
For me, I would say what you should not do is view this as a concept in contrast or, combating against your original model. I think a lot of brands look at this and they can get scared of, cannibalization, or is this going to drain resources? And rather you really need to look at it as an essential part that contributes also to the other. There's a lot of spillover effects and how that works as a whole for your brand, so that it's not, an isolated effort that has nothing to do with the rest. I would steer clear of that.
I think that, once you are at a certain scale or maturity as a business organization, I think it's critical not to postpone, but basically the moment that you understand that you have the bandwidth and roughly the viability to start looking at circularity and embedding that, you need to do that right away, because the more time that goes, the more of an afterthought it becomes, and the harder it is to really sort of implement this as a core part of your business. Obviously, if possible, if you're starting a business, then it's fantastic to have it in mind from the very beginning, even though you might not be able to execute it or execute on it from the beginning, because if you're a brand actually producing clothes, you need certain volumes, etc.
But my single, most simple advice, and it's so obvious in a sense, but it is really to just get started and force yourself to do it, because it's super easy to postpone something like this for the future when you feel you have more resources or more time. But really, you got to start somewhere, and it will take some time. And that also, allows you to realize that maybe you don't have to start it fully fledged everything at once. I guess that's what my advice not to do would be, that don't try to build something that is perfect and all pieces from the start, everything figured out. And that you're going to have to go with the flow a little bit, and you're going to have to downsize it and make it work. So really, go start working on it. Be really flexible and agile in a sense.
Yeah, I would advise you to be open-minded and really take the opportunity to go through all of these steps and explore what you learn from all of the exercises. And what I mean with that is, I think that sometimes, it can be quite easy to just, as a starting point, already see how it will turn out and how the concept should look like. But I think I've learned so much while we did the interviews with customers and when we did analysis and learnings from the business case and stuff like that I couldn't really imagine as a starting point. So I think it's important to keep that, to be curious and explore for during the whole journey. So, and it's been almost 1.5 years now. So, continuously learned a lot.
The most important thing that has got us through this program is the really strong commitment and engagement that we're having. And I'm thinking back sometimes about that first meeting that we had in Amsterdam, when we had to visualize are you in or are you out this journey? But we got an assignment to visualize how we are all on board on this trip, because that's when we realized that okay, it's going to take some struggle and some commitment and but we have to, how can we visualize that we are all in on this now? So then we made we took a rope and then we just placed it on the ground as a ring, and then we all stood outside of the ring. And then we said that, okay, everyone who wants to commit to this journey, then you hop into the ring. And then that's what we did, one by one. When you feel ready, hop into the ring if you want to join, or if you are committed to this journey. So it's like symbolic of that. That whole exercise has come to my mind sometimes during that whole course, because I think the engagement has to be there. You have to be either in or out, because it's going to take some hardship along the way. And then I think engagement and commitment is the absolutely most important. If you don't have that, then I think you should not engage.
Yeah, what you should absolutely do is you should really tap into your customer, and because there are so many nice insights that you can get from your customers, and I think it's really a topic that's really overlooked. And we really see customers right now as the ones buying our clothing, but they are not the buyers; they are the users of your clothing. And using clothing is not only it's also an emotional part, and people chose you for a reason. And I think it's really good to start building upon that reason, and not just being, oh, I like this color or I like this style. No, really, people really start investigating their brands more and more. So you really should start building also, what extra reason do you have instead of only, oh, it's a nice item. Really start building your story, and getting insights into your customer is really important to start building that story more and more and more. So that's really a do I would advise. I would say don't overcomplicate things. In this process, you will get a lot of different options that you can do. There are so many things available to work on circularity and circular business models. And of course, there's a gem in every little idea that you have. But it's really important that you try to keep focus and narrow it down to the thing that really suits your company, because what works for another company will not always work for you. So really find the gem that actually shines on you. That's really cliche to say, but it's really really the cliche, kill your darlings. So don't overcomplicate, keep it simple, begin small and set a big point on the horizon where you want to grow through. It's better to start than to not have anything at all.
We cannot thank the Asket, Kuyichi, Lindex, and ETP team enough for their dedication, energy, and collaboration in the past year, and for being trailblazers and validating the circular innovation process with us. We hope that their experience of the process and the success they achieved in following it can motivate you to follow in their footsteps. So, bon voyage!
The Switching Gear podcast was made possible thanks to the generous support of the Loudest Foundation. The podcast is part of the Circular Toolbox for apparel brands. If you are interested in developing and launching a resale or rental model of your own, the Toolbox will guide you, step by step, through the same innovation process the brands in this podcast have gone through, including all the workshop materials you'll need and a wealth of tips and tricks to support you on your journey. Go to thecirculartoolbox.com to learn more.